Welcome back to the Roy Works channel. My name is Jason Roy, and today we are going to continue work on the CJ2A project. Today we are going to continue on the interior sheet metal work, the floorboards, and the center console. So let's get to it. In the last video, we did the bulk of the sheet metal work. We got most of the floorboards covered, and the next part was working on the center console, which I mentioned in the last video. I wanted to be a removable piece that's similar to my International Scout. So what I did last week, I actually ran out of sheet metal, but I had a lot of pieces left over. So I wanted to make a mock-up or a practice piece to just make sure I could properly fit the good piece or the full piece. And this area here is the most technical area. This has the most cutouts and the most bends. So I mocked up this piece. So what I'm going to do now is remove that. I see some of the areas that I have to extend. This is rubbing here. And on the other side, I cut it a little bit too short and put the bend in the wrong spot, also on this side. So in this case, I was able to make the alterations I need to make this fit right. And what I'm going to do now is actually make up a buck so I can bend this properly with a buck. I'm going to make that out of plywood. And what I'm going to do is make this all one piece that extends all the way to the back. So now I'm going to remove this this practice piece, and I'm going to bring it out to my wood shop, and we'll trace out this area here onto a piece of plywood, and we'll cut it out with a jigsaw. All right, so I got my buck cut and I got my piece cut. The cutout in the buck is actually a little bit bigger, about 1/4 of an inch all the way around, bigger than the cutout in the metal. Because what I'm going to do now is actually put this on top of the buck, screw it on both sides so it don't move around, and then I'm going to hammer it around here and shape it so it has a bend going all the way around, so it makes it stronger, so it isn't, gives it some more rigidity. Now I'm going to continue to make these bends here. So I'm pretty pleased with that. It came together pretty well. I have a little bit of fitting issues I have to deal with, like in this corner right here and on the other side. But it's not bad. I'm going to wait to do that until I actually get the floorboards permanently secure. That definitely looks better than this. That was what was there before. So I'm happy with that. Once this is all painted black, and I'm going to use body filler in some of the areas just to blend it in. But I think it's going to look pretty good. So now let's move on to the back, just covering up these areas here. So what I'm going to do now is template the outer edge of this area right here. And what I'm going to do at this point is make up the pieces on both sides and just temporarily screw them in place. But I'm not going to weld anymore. In this area, we are in the dead of winter, so my house is really closed up. And my garage is actually connected to my house, so I don't like to do a lot of welding during this time of year because the fumes and the smoke end up drifting into the house because everything is so closed up. So I'm gonna get to that right now. I'm gonna template that and get those in place. This is only temporary. I'm gonna actually weld it in place later on. All right, guys, well, that's gonna be it for today. We didn't get a lot done today on Ned, but I got some of the most important parts done that I at least wanted to get fabricated. Like I said, I don't want to do any more welding this winter, but I wanted to at least get the rough pieces on the Jeep and get them ready to be welded. So I did that today. I have some other pieces I still have to make up, but I'm going to do that. I'm going to take one weekend and go through and do all the welding, just get that part behind us. But that will be closer to spring when I can open up all the doors and just let it get well ventilated. So next week, I'm going to pull the body back off the chassis, and we're going to start working on hopefully the brake lines and brake system. I have all that on order. The other thing I'm going to do possibly next week, and I also have on order, is replacing the starter bell housing bushing, because I'm having an issue when this turns over that I'm not sure if it's the starter. It's definitely not the battery, but it turns over very, very slow. And it sounds like that's a common issue, but I just have to figure out or distinguish what the issue is. Is it the starter? I hear it can be the bell housing bushing, and it's definitely not, or the ground. I've already tried to change the ground on it or make the ground better. So I don't think it's that. I just got to try to figure out what that issue is. This actually starts up really well now. I've already rebuilt the carburetor, which I didn't film that. That was before I was actually doing anything on YouTube. But those are some of the issues that we have. I'm going to start working on the motor for the dune buggy project. You can take a look at that. And you guys can help me evaluate if this motor is worth saving. How bad can a Volkswagen motor be before it's not worth saving? Maybe I can get some comments, some information from my friends that work on Volkswagens, what to look out for. I've definitely been following some channels, Slade's VW Beetle, for instance, and obviously Musty One, that really go in depth on rebuilding these motors. But I might do that next week. I have an idea what I want to do when I take this all apart. I'm going to make a container to hold all the separate parts, and just so I can keep track of them. Just being new to this, I don't want to start having parts all over the place. So at the very least, I want to take this apart and get a good parts list of what I have to order. So that's going to be it for today, guys. I will see you next week. And I promise no gnome videos, no chainsaw gnome carvings next week, but maybe the week after, I'm not sure. But have a great week, guys, and I'll see you next time.